you studied what is programming language, what are different programming language paradigms, and what are different techniques, how we can choose a particular paradigm for particular language. We have seen characteristics of programming languages, right? And unit 2, we extended it for its scope, rules, and language design principles, how variables are stored in main memory, and how it affects the scoping rules or type checking rules are programming language. Then in unit number 3, you have studied a totally different paradigm, that is functional programming paradigm, which is more similar to C language or procedural paradigm, but the evaluation pattern was totally different. It was inward to outward. Innermost function was executed first. And in functional programming, what we have seen, the syntax doesn't matter. No need to learn like C, C++, Java. You have to learn the syntax, how to write a for loop, how to write a while loop. There should be main, there should be a class, there should be something like this. In a functional programming, whatever the expression that is in your mind, just express it and you'll provide the input and you'll get the output. So you have seen a functional programming language, pure functional language, doesn't have variables, doesn't have assignment statements, etc. Right? Now, moving ahead, this is another programming language paradigm, very well popular and used in mainly in research fields, which is called as logic programming. It is declarative slides on logic programming and Prolog. Why declarative? In very first chapter, we have seen that there are two types of programming paradigm, imperative and declarative. What is imperative programming paradigm? What it does? Imperative focuses on how program executes, how, and declarative focuses on what is the problem. So imperative means how, that is sequence matters. Procedural sequence, it executes statement sequentially. In case of object-oriented, as per object is calling a procedure, program get executed. Parallel programming, parallelly you can execute functions. So how problem is getting executed, programming is getting executed, that was the focus. In declarative programming, focus is on the problem, not the way it is getting executed. So it is called declarative logic programming. The syllabus consists of, we are going to see computing with relations. In unit 3, you have seen how to compute with functions. Now these terms are very related to your discrete maths. In discrete maths, you studied functions, mathematical point of view. You have studied relations, now again here mathematical point of view. So here focus is on relations. Then the language, here you have studied scheme in functional programming. We have studied functional programming concepts with respect to scheme. So in this unit, we are going to focus on Prolog. So introduction to Prolog, what are the data structures and programming techniques, how we can use controls in Prolog, and guts. Guts is a term that is used in Prolog. We are going to explore it later. So as I mentioned, it is a declarative programming paradigm. Describe what is desired from the program and not how it should be done. How it is left to the programmer. Programmer can decide its way, how to solve that problem. What is the problem is the focus. So declarative language, statement of facts and prepositions, what must be satisfied by a solution to a program. So here facts are given. So like you are a student, I am a teacher, this is a keyboard, this is a mouse. So these are the facts. That is called database. And based on the facts, the queries are asked. How many computers are there? How many students are present in a class, like this. And getting those answers is nothing but a program here. In declarative language, statement of facts. So first we have to provide the facts and prepositions. What are the prepositions? What is preposition? Is a statement which can be either true or false, but not both at a time. Like you are a student, it's true. Like it is raining. This statement is false. So statement should be either true or false, not both. That is called preposition. That must be satisfied by a solution to a program. For example, X. real x. If value is real or floating point number, it will result into true. Otherwise, if the value is floating integer or character, it will result into false. So it can be true or false, but a number cannot be real and integer at a time. It can be either real or not real. So preposition x is a real number. X is greater than 0. Preposition x is greater than 0. Means if it is greater than 0, it will return true, otherwise false. So value should be either true or false, then it is called preposition. So we already studied what is declarative language. So can you give another example other than prologue of a declarative language? So there are many examples. In next year you are going to study DBMS next semester itself. So you are going to learn a language called structured query language. So that is also example of declarative language. Like here, select star from country where continent is Asia. So if you have a database, country and its continent, and you have to select only the countries from continent Asia. So this can be a query. This is called query. Select star means all. Star represents all, which is matching with this query. From country, country is a table where continent is Asia. So from country table, where we may have two columns, country and its continent. So first you have to select the continent Asia, and then you have to return the countries, and you have to repeat it infinitely till you'll get the output. So structured query language is also an example of declarative language. So in logic programming, we are going to study what are the facts, what is preposition, what are the rules, what is predicate, and what are compound terms. So we are going to answer all these things from next slides. Any queries, girls? No queries as of now? Yes? No, it is not logical programming example. It is declarative programming paradigm. Like in imperative programming paradigm, we have procedural language, object-oriented language, concurrent language. Similarly, under declarative, there is a language called functional programming is also declarative language. Prolog or logic programming is declarative language, and SQL query or database languages are declarative languages. So in DBMS, the programming paradigms, if you remember that chart, imperative and declarative. And under imperative, we have studied procedural, then object-oriented, object-based, and parallel. And under declarative, we have functional programming, then logic programming, and here DBMS or database programming languages. So example of database programming language.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, are you showing something on the board?
I'm explaining to you what is the difference between imperative and declarative programming. Is it visible? Board is visible, girls? So in very first chapter, we have studied programming paradigms or classification of programming languages under various paradigms. So there are mainly two terms, imperative and declarative. Imperative focuses on how, and declarative focuses on what. What is how and what problem? How to solve that problem? The way we are solving the problem is called imperative programming paradigm. And what is the problem? When focus is on the problem, it is called declarative. So the meaning here, in declarative programming, you studied functional programming paradigm, which is list, scheme, example, and in logic programming, example is Prolog, and in DBMS, example is SQL. Here in procedural, we have studied block structured language. Block structured language is Pascal. Procedural language is C language. Object based and object oriented. Two ways. So your object based language was Ada and object oriented language is C++ and Java. And parallel programming, there are again examples like Ada, Java, many more. The just representative examples, there are many languages which can fall under this category. We have seen this table previously. So now we are here, logic programming. We have studied procedural programming. We have studied object-oriented programming with the help of Java in first year, but there is one more unit number 5. Again, we are recalling refreshing your object-oriented concepts in unit number 5. Parallel programming is not there in our syllabus, and here functional programming and logic programming. So let's see what are the facts. Facts are the statements, and which are either true or false. Prepositions are called facts. So the way of stating the relationship between objects. So here, salmon is a fish, and cat likes tuna. The relationship is likes between these objects, cat and tuna. So stating that fact, we need or stating that relationship, we are calling it as a fact. For example, here it's cat eats something, or cat eats milk, cat likes milk. So the fact that we are converting or a relationship is converted into the statement is called fact. So the way of stating relationship between objects are called facts. Predicate, a relationship is called predicate. Now from this fact, fish, likes are the predicates, and salmon, cat, tuna, these are called objects. So this is a predicate and these are the objects, and relationship between predicate and object is called fact. Compound terms, if you want to match or mix two different facts together, it's called compound statements. For example, here we are saying that likes cat X, cat likes something, and that X is fish. So we can say that cat likes fish. So compound statements, combining different facts together. Atom, name of individuals are called atom. Whatever we pass to these predicates are called atoms. Here, cat, salmon, tuna, these are whatever we are passing into the brackets, these are objects. And what are the rules? So facts means statements, these are true. So that is in the database. And rules are, we are creating a new relationship with existing relationship. So you know that cat likes fish or cat likes milk. You know that X is a fish like this. And then you are creating a new relationship with existing relationship. That is called rule. So for a rule, we can state that are the implications that are stated during the consult operation. So if cat likes that particular object, if cat can eat that. So eat cat X implies like cat X and X is a fish. So if cat likes that particular atom, and if that particular atom is a fish, is from the list of fish, then you can say that cat eats that particular atom. So here, suppose I have three statements. Again, I have this. So I have facts like lights, cat, milk. Lights, cat. And suppose I have another facts like fish. Another name of fish. Salmon. And I will have to check whether it's cat eats salmon. Whether cat eats salmon, this can be a query. So how to solve this query? I have a fact. I have a rule. It's cat eggs. Then we have to find out eggs. It says that implies likes. I should have a relationship like cat eggs, and egg should be a fish. So if we solve first query, cat likes eggs. The values of eggs are milk, tuna, and then I have to put these values of eggs in this another predicate, and I have to check whether we have fish, tuna, fish, rat, fish, milk. So for fish, tuna, it returns true. So value of x will be true. This is how these queries are solved. We have a database, then we can define rules like this. It's here it is a rule. It is not the part of database. In database we have statements likes and fish or eating element like this. And when we state a rule says we are combining two relations together, like cat likes something, and then that should be a fish. Then we can say that cat likes or eats that particular object. This is clear example. You understood what is the fact? So when we write likes cat, fish, or likes milk, cat milk or cat tuna, these are the facts. So these 5 statements are called facts. This statement is called rules. You write a rule using these facts. And this is called queries. We are going to check whether cat likes cat eats salmon. This is a rule, sorry. This is a rule. Eats cat eggs implies likes cat eggs and fish eggs. This is a rule. And this is a query. We have to find out whether cat eats salmon or whether the cat eats tuna. Now the answer is no. Okay, answer is yes, salmon is fish, so answer is true. Yeah, cat does not like salmon, so answer is false here. So we have talked about facts, then predicate. So from fact, the relationship is called predicate, likes or something. And the element that we are passing to predicate is called active. We can combine two predicates to create compound terms. And we can state a rule using available predicates. Another example. So here, tell me what are the atoms, facts and rules. You have to read this example carefully and find out what are the atoms here, what are the facts, what are the rules. The example is very simple and it is also drawn. We have 4 points and we are stating a relationship age. If there is a age between point A to point B. So age AB, age AC, age CD. And what is path? What are the atoms here? A, B, C, D. These are the atoms. Then what are the facts? Statement 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 only, not 2. Age A to B. It's a fact. There is a age from A to B. Right? Then age A to C. There is a age from point A to point C. So it's a fact. Then age C comma D. It's a fact. So these are the facts. Age is relationship of predicate. A, B, C, D. These are the atoms. Now what is a rule? If this is given, we can define a rule for path. We have to find out whether there is a path from point A to point B. So when there is a path from X to Y, okay, path XX is also a fact. There is a path from point A to point A itself, or point B to point B itself. So that is also defined as a fact. So 1, 2, 3, 4, these statements are called facts. Now rule is line number 5, which states that there is a path from X to Y implies there should be the age from X to N, and recursively we are calling this function path N to Y. I want whether there is a path from B to D. So first there should be the path from B to something, and that something to D. So recursively we are calling this relation. So recursion is the keyword, or relations. Recursion is the base of finding these queries or solving the logic problems. So path should be N to N. So you understood what is fact, atom, and rule. We'll talk about queries in depth. These three things are clear. X and Y are variables. It's like we have to find values of X and Y. So query can be, is there a path A comma B, A to B, and question mark. So what is the difference between fact and query? Fact says there is a path between A to B, and query asks you a question: is there a path from A to B? So in prologue, if your statement ends with full stop, that is dot, that means it's a fact. And if it ends with a question mark, that you are asking whether there is a path from A to B. So that's a query, and your answer should be true or false. X comma X means X can be replaced by A, B, C, D. We should. So path from that particular what we can say vertex to that particular vertex is true. It is just an exit condition for recursion. To come out of the recursion, you should have an exit condition, like in case of factorial. If factorial is 1, you'll return 1. So similarly, path X to X means it's a true. There is a path from that particular position to that particular position. We are going to expand, or this example you'll see on next slides also. Can you solve this example for B to D? If I have asked you, is there a path from B comma D? If the query is path B comma D. Actually, direction of arrows matters, because there is no path from B to A, there is a path from A to B. If you ask a question whether there is a path from A to D, you should get answer true. How will this solve? The query is query is path A comma B question mark. So how to solve this query? We have to write the rule first. What is our rule? Path x comma y implies there should be h from x to some n, and recursively you are checking whether there is a path from n to y. So it is x here, a. X is a and y is b. You have to find out n. So in our database, you have to search, is there a path from A to N? What are the values for N? So we have two rules that are matching with this. It is a pattern matching concept. Exactly, it should match that pattern. So in our database or in the facts, are there rules where H A to someone? Yes. So here we are getting two values for N. There is a H from A to B and there is a H from A to C. So we have values N is equal to B and N is equal to C. Let's start with N is equal to B and we have to check whether there is a path from B to something. B to D. Is there a path from B to B? No. No, that is false. Again, backtrack. What I am using the term backtrack. Go back and take another value. Put this value in our equation. Rule. Path C comma D. Is there a path from C comma D? So, what is the equation for path? Again, rule for path is path. Sorry, H from C comma D, C comma something, and path X, path something comma D. We didn't have a rule for path C comma D. We didn't have fact path C comma D. So path C comma D should be replaced by a rule. And rule says that there should be a H from C comma N. I will use here N2 suppose, and N2 comma D. N2 comma D. Now what are the values for N2? From C we have path to D. So here value of N2 is D, so this part is true. And there is a path from D comma D, because as per rule number 4, we have path from that element to that element. So this is true. Yes, answer is true. There is a path from A to 3. It is easy. Is it clear how we solve this problem? We used here recursion, we used here backtracking. So assume that instead of these 4 rules, I have 400 rules. Yes? Yeah, D comma D. N2 will be replaced by D. N2 I am using as a variable for this rule. X to N and path N to Y. So here X, value of X here is small c, C to M2 and N2 to D. So in H, I have only one predicate, C to D. So what is the value of M2? Value of M2 is D. And then that N2 is replaced in another predicate, path D comma D. So as per rule number 4, path D comma D is true. First predicate is true and we are using AND operation. True, true, returns true. Any queries, girls? So if instead of 4 predicates or 4 facts, if we have 400, 4,000, 40,000 facts, like in medical terms, there are many symptoms or even running nose can have many, it's a cause of many diseases. So how to predict a particular disease with the symptoms? So such type of systems are called expert systems or decision-making systems. You are using chatbots to ask your queries, and depending upon queries, it opens up some solutions for you. So chatbots also work on its expert system, or what we can call it a decision-making system. The problem is there are too many ways to express preposition. How to build this problem? Your problem is given you ready-made. There is a age from A to B, A to B. Suppose problem is stated in words. How you are going to convert it into predicates? That is the main problem. Problem defined is called problem half done. You should understand what is the problem first. Then immediately you can find out its solution. But you should know what is the problem. So problem, there are too many ways to express a preposition. So difficulty is for machine to parse and understand. Just imagine how the compiler or whatever the interpreter which is used to solve these predicates to be working. The clausal form, clause, you studied clause in languages, is a clause, how you state a particular statement. So clausal form, standard form of expressing preposition. So we can have consequent, which is used as or statement, A or B or C or D. Any one can be true, still you can proceed. And you can use and second form, which means everything should be true, then only you can proceed. A and B and C and D. So for example here, giving the example of path x comma y, we are using AND operation. There should be age from A to N and there should be a path from N to Y. Then and then you can say that there is a path from X to Y. So AND condition. So similarly you can define OR condition. If for example parents X, Y, I want to see whether X is parent of Y. So X can be a mother of Y or X can be a father of Y. So here OR operation, father of or mother of. And Y also can be son or daughter. If X is mother of Y and Y is a daughter, or X is father of Y and Y is a son, then you can say parent X comma Y. You can define relationship like this. So here we use AND. In age operation, we use AND. If there is an age from X to L and there is a path from N to Y, then there is a path from X to Y. So this type of clause are called a headed horn clause. Here, what is meaning of headed horn? First condition is true, or then you can check the next condition. If first condition is false, for example, in this example, if I ask you if there is a path from B to C. So there is no age from D to C, so you will not check what is the second part. Headed horn. First condition is true, then you are going to check for the second condition. If I ask you, is there a path from B to A? Is there an age from B to A? No. First clause is false, no need to check for the second part. If the first condition is true, then you will check whether the second condition is true or false. This is called headed horn clause. So in prologue, it is written as a preposition or rule. The syntax is path x comma y colon and dash. So instead of arrow, here I am using arrow. So there is a colon and dash. Age x comma n comma path n comma y. So comma indicates and. There should be a age from x to n and there should be a path from n to y. I already explained in query, but just to define what is a query, in some books it is also called goal. Instead of query, the keyword is used as goal. What is your goal or what is a query? What you want to extract from that database. we there is a database and you have to extract exact information. You have to dig into the database. For that, we are using queries or rules. So a query or goal is input preposition that we want a prolog to prove or disprove it. We want it should prove it means output should be either true or disprove it means false. Query may or may not require that prolog gives us an value that satisfies the query. It is not like creating the object or creating a variable. So every variable should have a value. Like we are not expecting result as cat or dog. Here we are expecting result true or false. So query may or may not require that Prolog gives us a value that satisfies the query. We are not interested in the values. We are interested whether the stated statement is true or false. Method for retrieving information from a program. So how it goes on, how the queries are solved. Like we have seen, age a comma b question mark where we are executing the problem. Age a comma b, yes. Path c comma b, no. There is no path from c comma. Path c comma x, x is equal to c, x is equal to b. So x is considered as variable, and you have path from C to C and C to D. So C is matching x comma x, and for what it is saying no, it may say no if you are asking whether there is a path from D to E. So answer should be yes, no, or the values of variables that you are passing. Let me explain you with online Python compiler. I think JDB also has online Python. Python no, it's a Prolog. Just select a language here. Take a comma b, a comma c, h, c comma d, path. Then we have to define a path. Path x comma y implies h x comma n comma path n comma y. The syntax path x comma y implies h x comma n comma path n comma y.
Ma'am,
Yes.
we are not able to see your online editor screen.
Okay. Okay. What? N comma y. I'm using another editor. Just wait a minute. I'll share share the screen. Just directly giving the output. I want it should work as an interpreter. We'll see this in the next lecture, how to execute Prolog program on Live Editor. Let's continue with our slides. It's already 10, 11, 10. So let's stop here and next lecture I'll continue with another example. Password for attendance is predicate.